Success is rarely accidental. Behind every high-performing leader is a morning routine built with intention, discipline, and clarity. The most successful people in the world do not wake up and react to life. They wake up and lead it. Your morning sets the tone for your mind, your energy, and your decisions. If you begin the day scattered, rushed, and distracted, that chaos follows you. But when your morning is structured, purposeful, and calm, focus and productivity become natural outcomes. High-level achievers understand one powerful truth: you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. A strong morning blueprint is not about waking up earlier than everyone else. It's about waking up with intention. These leaders protect their mornings because they know focus is fragile and productivity is built before the world starts demanding attention. They design habits that sharpen thinking, stabilize emotions, and prepare them to make clear decisions under pressure. The difference between an average day and an extraordinary one is not talent or luck. It's how the first hour is used. When you take control of your morning, you take control of your direction. Today, you will discover 3 powerful secrets used by top-performing leaders to create focus, clarity, and unstoppable productivity. Not through hustle, but through alignment. The most productive leaders in the world do not stumble into their mornings by accident. They do not wake up and immediately react to emails, notifications, or other people's priorities. They understand a critical principle: if you don't design your morning, someone else will design it for you. And when that happens, your focus is scattered before the day even begins. Drifting through the morning creates mental clutter. The mind starts the day in reaction mode, jumping from one stimulus to another without direction. This leads to rushed decisions, emotional fatigue, and a sense of being busy without being effective. High-level leaders avoid this by being intentional about the first hour of their day. Designing your morning means deciding in advance how your energy, attention, and mindset will be used. It is a conscious choice to start the day on your terms. This does not require waking up at an extreme hour or following a rigid schedule. It requires clarity about what matters most and discipline to protect that time. The first moments after waking are powerful because your mind is highly receptive. Whatever you expose it to, calm or chaos, intention or distraction, sets the emotional and cognitive tone for the hours ahead. Leaders who thrive understand this and use their mornings to stabilize their mindset before engaging with the outside world. A designed morning begins with a pause. Before consuming information and before responding to demands, there is a moment of grounding. This may include reflection, journaling, prayer, or simply sitting in silence. The purpose is not productivity, but presence. When you begin the day centered, your decisions become clearer and your reactions more measured. Another key element of a designed morning is prioritization. Instead of asking, "What do I need to do today?" successful leaders ask, "What deserves my best energy today?" This subtle shift changes everything. It moves the focus from quantity of tasks to quality of impact. The day becomes intentional rather than overwhelming. Design also means eliminating friction. Leaders prepare their mornings in advance, choosing clothes, organizing schedules, and setting clear boundaries around technology. These small decisions reduce cognitive load and preserve mental energy for higher-level thinking later in the day. Importantly, a designed morning creates confidence. When you start the day with structure and purpose, you reinforce trust in yourself. You prove that you are capable of leading your time instead of chasing it. This confidence compounds and influences how you handle challenges throughout the day. Mornings are not meant to be rushed or chaotic. They are meant to be strategic. When you design your morning, you are not just planning your day. You are shaping your mindset, your focus, and your productivity. The most successful people don't wake up hoping for a good day. They build one, starting with intention, not reaction. One of the greatest myths about productivity is that taking more action automatically leads to better results. In reality, action without clarity often creates stress, wasted effort, and burnout. High-performing leaders understand that clarity must come before movement. They do not rush into the day doing everything. They begin by deciding what truly matters. Clarity is the ability to see priorities without emotional noise. It is knowing what deserves attention and what can wait. Without clarity, even the most motivated person becomes scattered. With clarity, even limited time becomes powerful. This is why successful leaders protect their mornings, not to do more, but to think better. The morning is the quietest mental space of the day. Before meetings, messages, and expectations take over, the mind is at its most open and strategic. Leaders use this window to ask intentional questions. What is the single most important outcome today? What decision requires my best thinking? What must I do personally? And what can be delegated? This kind of reflection creates alignment. Instead of reacting to urgency, leaders operate from purpose. They understand that being busy is not the same as being effective. Clarity filters out distractions and sharpens focus, allowing energy to be directed where it has the highest return. Another powerful aspect of morning clarity is emotional regulation. Hard decisions, difficult conversations, and unexpected challenges are part of leadership. When clarity is established early, emotional responses are more balanced. Leaders are less reactive, more composed, and better equipped to handle pressure with grace. Clarity also reduces decision fatigue. Every unnecessary decision drains mental energy. By setting intentions and priorities in the morning, leaders limit the number of choices they must make later in the day. This preserves focus for critical thinking and problem solving. Importantly, clarity is not about perfection. It is about direction. Leaders do not need to have every answer. They need to know the next right step. Morning clarity provides that step. It turns complexity into simplicity and overwhelm into structure. Many people wait for clarity to appear later in the day, but it rarely does. The noise increases, not decreases. That is why effective leaders create clarity before the world makes demands on them. They decide before they are distracted. Clarity also strengthens confidence. When you know why you are doing something, resistance loses its power. Procrastination fades because the purpose is clear. Action becomes intentional rather than forced. Ultimately, clarity transforms productivity from effort into effectiveness. When your mind is clear, your actions are precise. When your priorities are defined, your time is respected. Leaders who succeed consistently are not the busiest, they are the clearest. And that clarity begins each morning before the first action is taken. One of the most overlooked secrets of high-level productivity is the understanding that energy, not time, is the real currency of performance. Everyone has the same 24 hours, but not everyone has the same level of focus, clarity, or stamina throughout the day. The most effective leaders do not try to push themselves harder. They learn how to manage their energy intelligently, starting in the morning. Pushing through exhaustion may produce short-term results, but it always comes at a long-term cost. Burnout, poor decision-making, and emotional reactivity are often the result of ignoring energy signals. Leaders who sustain success know that productivity is not about doing more. It is about doing what matters with the right level of energy. The morning is when energy is naturally highest for most people. Instead of wasting this peak window on distractions or low-value tasks, high-performing leaders reserve it for activities that require deep focus and strategic thinking. They align their most demanding work with their strongest energy rather than forcing productivity later when fatigue sets in. Managing energy also means respecting the body. Leaders who perform at a high level understand that physical, mental, and emotional energy are interconnected. Quality sleep, hydration, movement, and mindful breathing are not optional luxuries. They are performance tools. A body under constant stress cannot support a clear, focused mind. Another critical aspect of energy management is emotional awareness. Mornings are used to stabilize emotions before the day introduces pressure. Through reflection, gratitude, or stillness, leaders create emotional balance. This allows them to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively when challenges arise. Energy management also involves setting boundaries. Constant availability drains focus and fragments attention. Successful leaders are intentional about when they engage with emails, messages, and meetings. They understand that protecting energy is not selfish, it is strategic. Focused energy produces higher quality outcomes than scattered effort ever could. Importantly, managing energy includes knowing when to rest. Rest is not a reward for finishing work, it is a requirement for doing it well. Leaders who build recovery into their routine maintain clarity and resilience under pressure. They know that sustained performance requires cycles of focus and renewal. Morning routines that prioritize energy might include light movement, breathing exercises, journaling, or quiet reflection. These practices are not about productivity on the surface, but they directly influence performance by creating mental calm and physical readiness. When energy is managed, productivity becomes natural. Decisions feel easier. Focus lasts longer. Creativity increases. Instead of forcing progress, leaders move with rhythm and intention. Ultimately, energy management is about self-leadership. When you respect your energy, you respect your ability to lead effectively. And when your mornings are designed to protect and align energy, the rest of the day follows with greater ease and impact. One of the greatest productivity myths is that multitasking makes you more efficient. In reality, multitasking fractures attention, increases errors, and drains mental energy. High-performing leaders understand that focus is a finite resource, and it must be protected deliberately, especially in the morning. Focus is not something you find after distractions disappear. It is something you defend before distractions arrive. Leaders do not wait for quiet. They create it. They design environments, schedules, and boundaries that allow deep, uninterrupted thinking to take place. The morning is the most valuable window for focus because the mind is less cluttered and more capable of sustained attention. Successful leaders use this time for deep work, tasks that require strategy, creativity, and complex problem solving. They resist the urge to check emails or scroll through notifications because they know that once attention is fragmented, it is difficult to recover. Protecting focus means saying no, not just to others, but to impulses. Every notification, message, and interruption competes for attention. Leaders who thrive train themselves to delay reaction. They choose intention over immediacy and purpose over urgency. Another important aspect of focus is task singularity. High performers commit to one meaningful task at a time. This allows the brain to operate at full capacity rather than constantly switching contexts. When focus is sustained, work quality improves and completion time decreases. Environmental design also plays a key role in protecting focus. Leaders structure their physical and digital spaces to minimize distraction. Clean workspaces, limited tabs, silent notifications, and scheduled communication windows are not signs of rigidity. They are strategies for clarity. Protecting focus is also an act of self-respect. It signals that your time and attention are valuable. When you treat focus as sacred, others learn to respect it as well. Boundaries become expectations, and productivity becomes predictable. Importantly, focus is not about intensity all day long. It is about intentional blocks of deep attention followed by recovery. Leaders understand the rhythm of focus and rest. They work deeply, then step away to recharge, preventing burnout and maintaining clarity. Morning focus also sets a psychological tone. When you begin the day by completing meaningful work, confidence increases. You feel grounded, capable, and in control. This momentum carries into the rest of the day, making later tasks feel lighter. Multitasking creates the illusion of progress, but focus creates real results. Leaders who succeed consistently do not do everything, they do the right things well. When focus is protected in the morning, productivity becomes sustainable. Decisions improve, stress decreases, and work becomes aligned with purpose rather than pressure. Focus is not accidental. It is chosen, defended, and practiced. And in the morning, it becomes your greatest competitive advantage. The true power of any morning routine is not found in a single perfect day, but in repetition over time. Consistency is what transforms simple habits into a system that produces focus, clarity, and productivity automatically. High-performing leaders understand that excellence is not an event. It is a practice. A well-designed morning routine only works if it is repeated. One focused morning can inspire you, but consistent mornings reshape your identity. When you show up for your routine daily, you send a powerful message to yourself: I led my time, my energy, and my priorities. This self-trust compounds into confidence. Consistency removes decision fatigue. When your mornings follow a familiar structure, you no longer waste energy deciding what to do next. Your mind is free to focus on higher level thinking. This is why leaders simplify their mornings, not to limit themselves, but to expand their capacity. Another advantage of consistency is emotional stability. Daily routines create predictability in an unpredictable world. When external circumstances are chaotic, a consistent morning becomes an anchor. It grounds your mindset and gives you control over at least one part of the day, and that control influences everything else. Consistency also builds resilience. There will be days when motivation is low, energy is limited, or circumstances are challenging. A routine carries you through those moments. You don't rely on inspiration, you rely on structure. Over time, discipline replaces willpower and progress becomes inevitable. Importantly, consistency does not mean rigidity. Successful leaders adjust their routines when needed, but they never abandon the core principles. The structure remains even if the details change. This flexibility ensures sustainability rather than burnout. Consistency also sharpens focus. When the brain knows what to expect each morning, it transitions into focus mode faster. Over weeks and months, this creates a powerful mental association between mornings and productivity. Focus becomes automatic rather than forced. Small actions, repeated daily, produce extraordinary results. 5 minutes of reflection, 10 minutes of planning, and 20 minutes of focused work may seem simple, but practiced consistently, they transform performance. This is how leaders achieve long-term success without constant pressure. Ultimately, consistency turns routines into identity. You stop trying to be productive, you become someone who operates with clarity and intention. Productivity becomes a natural expression of who you are. The CEO Morning Blueprint is not about copying someone else's routine. It is about building a system that supports your focus, protects your energy, and aligns your actions with your priorities every single day. When consistency becomes your foundation, productivity stops being casual and starts becoming a standard. Extraordinary focus and productivity are not the result of working longer hours or pushing harder. They are the result of intentional mornings. When you design your morning, create clarity before action, manage your energy wisely, protect your focus, and stay consistent, you don't just improve your productivity, you elevate your leadership. The CEO Morning Blueprint is not about perfection, it is about alignment. Alignment between your energy and your priorities. Alignment between your actions and your long-term vision. When your mornings are intentional, your days become decisive and your results become sustainable. Remember, the world will always demand your attention. Emails will arrive, notifications will buzz, urgent problems will appear, but leaders do not begin the day reacting. They begin it directing. They decide what matters before distractions compete for focus. Consistency is what turns a simple routine into a powerful system. Over time, your morning habits shape your mindset, your confidence, and your identity. You stop chasing productivity and start embodying it. You don't need to wake up earlier than everyone else. You need to wake up with purpose. Even small, intentional changes in your morning can create massive shifts in focus, clarity, and effectiveness. Lead your morning. Protect your energy. Honor your focus. Stay consistent. When you do, productivity stops being something you chase. It becomes the natural outcome of how you live. The day is not in control. You are.